he's not like the highest tier character, but I mean, like if you hop into like a Faust that knows what they're doing, and you have no idea what he's doing, like yeah, you get knowledge checked pretty hard.
Exactly. Um, so what we can do here, go ahead and fix my scenes. So I think a good place to start generally is just like, what do you feel are Faust's strong moves in kind of neutral? And this is a practice room, by the way. So um,
Okay.
what do you feel are like Faust's strong moves in neutral? What are things that are particular to watch out for, or things that like have strong counterplay? Like for instance, I know like 6Ping the Pierce and the other overhead is like are two really big things. What do you generally find are your like?
So usually what I go for with Faust is like obviously like his far slash is like like actually goes like pretty dang far, and
Hmm.
so like most of the time when like someone like just stand blocks, I go for like that and like 2H that can trip them up.
Hmm.
And so if like they are at like a reasonable distance, like right here, if I do that, well, okay, that didn't reach, but if I do like that back going into an item toss like that,
Yeah.
and it's like going by that, most of the time that's what I'm usually doing with Faust is just kind of like checking with far slash and neutral.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for like jump ins, I usually throw out like a little bit of like 5H. It's really good. It's got like a lot of pushback on block.
Oh yeah. That actually is really high.
Yeah. And then the one that I probably do too much, it does kind of get me fucked for like jump ins, is his 5K is like it reaches very high and it's very fast.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it does get kind of screwed by a lot of jump ins. So
Oh really?
oh,
Interesting. Oh.
yeah, so like well, just because like if you like go for like I think like I don't know testments, but like jump in like uh, jump 5S or something, like I think it counters me. Oh no, I gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that.
I know I get smoked by that 5K a lot, but that's most likely a timing thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Otherwise, I mean, round start, like,
yeah, like
just
round start's definitely a
2P.
big thing, right? Because like you got that, and I like my go-to is I usually can 2K and catch it because of weird
Mhm.
frame data nonsense. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, but normally I just go for like a round start 2P. Once my opponent kind of like starts representing, like I know that Baiken, I think like Baiken 5K and I think Nagariki 5K end up going over it, and that kind of counters me. But
mhm.
otherwise, like it's still like a really good round start option because it's so quick, it reaches so far. I usually just like doing it for a quick little poke at the beginning.
Yeah,
And then my favorite is also like stuffing some jump ins because Faust 2K, you see like that first frame, like his foot is like really high up there.
I can see that.
Yeah. So like, nah, not quite. So like,
Oh wow, yeah, it
yeah,
really
no,
does hit up there.
yeah, no, and if that hits, like I can do like, I can do like that. But let's see. Hold on.
Hold on, let me get a little further back.
Huh.
Oh, oh yeah,
Stuff like that, and I can like convert into like scalpel or item toss or something. Like,
that
there's
gives
some like
you.
really fun stuff I like doing off of 2K, 5K when I catch them out of the air like that.
Okay.
And then usually just like going in, doing like that with 2D. That also with the most recent balance patch with Faust, like his 2D like on block like still has a lot of pushback now. So you can usually go for like 2K, 2D item toss, and
Mhm.
usually they're far enough away where they can't do too much about it. Um, yeah. Otherwise, those are like just kind of my neutral options with Faust. Sometimes I'll just throw out a cheeky little scalpel just to see. I mean, like, if you know your 6P timing, like, they did make it in the recent patch where a little bit of it is disjointed on the end there, so it doesn't
Right.
completely fuck you. But yeah, if you get a bit closer, it is just devastating for
It
Faust.
it is 6P Nation.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah,
definitely seems like a lot of it is like. I mean, I always notice a Faust like dispenses a surprising amount of lows and like catches me stand blocking way too often.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so like I think it's just like crouch blocking because like anything that you can't crouch block, you can just 6P pretty easily. I feel like
Yeah.
in the neutral
Uh,
sense at least.
yeah. Another really good tool of his is the crawl. It doesn't really seem that great, but while you're crawling, like, look at that. Look at that low profile
Ugh.
on the far. It low profiles, I think, just about damn near every far slash.
Yep.
And
Crap,
yeah, that
that
was
makes
me just like
sense.
holding up accidentally.
Oh yeah.
Um, But yeah, no, that's really nice because then I can not that, but well, I'm sure there's something I can do. But I'm not
Yeah,
quite sure.
I mean, yeah,
I
that's
usually
one of
just
the
go for like a
things
quick little 2P.
that catches me as like a defensive option a lot, right? Because like I got Faust in the corner or whatever, and I'm just like trying to do this stuff, and it's like, oh well, okay, well, bye.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting full comboed, and like
Yeah,
that
just
in
like
2H, like because 2H is so fast and so disjointed,
hmm
and like so long range. Faust is one of those really privileged characters that can mash out of Testament pressure even at like mid screen.
hmm
Um,
I know that Testament isn't like a favorite matchup of mine, just because like with the recent changes with them. The mostly just like kind of like the under what is it called? Gravedigger. Gravedigger is like very hard to like kind of get in on a lot of times because if you just kind of keep like mixing up like that.
Yeah, definitely. I know the Testament patch. One of the big things that it kind of buffed was Testament at full screen, and that was one of those situations where previously Faust could just chill out at full screen and throw a billion items, and there was nothing that I could really do.
Yeah.
But now that I can do a little bit more, be a little more active with my Grave Reapers, like it's definitely a thing. Okay, cool. So when we get out of round start, right? Like you're most often going for the 2K, or I see a lot of Faust do like the dive kick, right?
Oh yeah, no, going for like a little quick like I forgot about that. The dive kick is crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know I usually like my go-to round start. I usually end up doing this 2K 6P thing that I basically got exactly for Faust. Where it's like because this catches the dive kick unless they do it super fast. Which they definitely can. Do you want to run me through a little bit about what the items like actually do and how they interact with all the nonsense?
Yeah, so I guess I can kind of just start with like whatever I throw here naturally. So
Of course.
with 100-ton weight, 100-ton weight's interesting because even though I can't demonstrate it quite right now, there is a specific timing with it where you can throw and see you through the 100-ton weight and then throw another item. And then throw another item, and then just like that in backdash, and then you get both items, and you don't get messed up by the ground shake like that. And in the most recent patch, they made it so if you throw 100-ton weight, get it out here. So yeah, I can Scarecrow, and I guess like
they raised the hurt box off the ground slightly.
Yeah, they raised the hurt box off the ground a little bit, so now you can go for like mix-ups off of 100-ton weight with Scarecrow. So that's really nice now. Not the greatest item, but it's not the worst either. Like the worst thing that happens sometimes is just like your opponent blocks it and you get fucked by it, but also like you can kind of both just get reset by it. It's not my favorite, but
is there? I actually didn't know this. So obviously it can hit you on the way down, right? But is it like a slide head and that you like have to block low to block it and get the guard crush, or?
I believe you have to block low for it. I'm not so sure. Let me see. Okay, try.
Oh, that was just not blocking. Yeah.
Okay. It's all good. Okay.
Okay, so it isn't all guard, so...
Yeah, no, you can stand block it, so that's perfectly fine. But okay, so that's 100-ton weight. It's fine. It's a pretty good item. Donut sucks. It does exactly what you think it does. It heals you or it heals your opponent. I've seen no situation where that healing was like ever really made much of a difference. I'm sure it can, but it's usually the item that Faust players see, and they're just like, okay, well, I can't just throw another item now.
It is like the bad item.
Yeah, it's the bad item. He needs to have a bad item, I guess. But in any case, then there's Meteor.
Yeah, pretty good.
So that's the neutral skip button. Always good. And I definitely love doing it where you throw Meteor, you throw another item, and then you go for a quick little like 2-on-4K teleport, and it just completely crosses them up. They get hit by meteors, and with I think it wasn't this patch, like last patch, but the last patch, they made it so meteor, like like bounce, like the hit makes your opponent bounce.
Yeah.
So you can get like a conversion off it. It's juicy.
Yeah, you got a lot of wacky bounces. In that exact situation, right? Are you you throw the meteor out, and then you do the scarecrow. At what point does that actually cross up? Is it as soon as the eye shows up, or is it as soon as like the spin starts?
It's pretty much as soon as like I like do this, because like if you're holding back already, like because the meteor. Let me see. Is there any way we can just like make it meteor?
I think
Let's see.
so. Or I guess it might not in the shared one.
Okay. Because yeah, let me see here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say for certain myself. Also, it's a rare item, so
There we go.
yeah, no, it's like
Okay.
almost right away. So, and then like you can get like some really zany shit off of that.
So it's basically as soon as you commit to your scarecrow option, because
Yeah.
you can do same side, opposite side, or the overhead, which almost nobody ever does. But
Yeah, and the way that I've seen most people counter it is, I believe that if you jump, like you hold back and jump, you won't get crossed up by the meteor. I'm not so sure. I mean, I've seen people do it, but then like the kind of way that you can condition them. I mean, this is if you see more than one meteor a match, but
right.
you can kind of like bait them into thinking that you're gonna do it. So like I throw a meteor, and then like you kind of like look for the scarecrow, and then like maybe I'm just like I'm doing like this, you know. Like I'm holding down back like this, like I'm going to teleport Scarecrow,
Right.
and then you cross yourself up for me, and then I just go in.
right.
So there's some fun mind games you can play with meteors. It's his best item. It's the neutral skipper, like I said. It's super good. Trumpet, I hate Trumpet. I want them to take it out of the game.
Oh, really?
For that very reason that you just picked it up.
Oh, fair.
Since the beginning of the game, it has always been the case that Trumpet lands closer to your opponent than it does for you. Most Faust players will know exactly where the Trumpet's going to fall, but like it can be kind of a race to like get to it. I mean, obviously your opponent's probably not going to have as good of item recognition as you are, so you might be able to like rush to the spot where it's going to fall before your opponent gets to it. But it is a mad dash to it. But there are some mind games to it still. Like, I mean, obviously, if you get the Trumpet, great. Like, that's just good for you. But if your opponent is also going for the Trumpet, you can like, I don't know, like go up. You can just go up, like command grab them before they get it, or like if they grab it, you know, like they're gonna be running from whatever side that they grabbed it from. So the command grab will like last long enough where it will. Where you'll still be able to apply the entire afro, the guys roll by, and you don't get hit by any of it. So, fun stuff with that. But as far as like, whenever I throw a Trumpet, I feel like I lose the game more often when I throw a Trumpet and I don't get it, or I'm trying to go for the Trumpet and then like my opponent doesn't even grab the Trumpet, and it's just like, well, okay, he's not even paying attention to me now. Like, I think it's more of a me problem, but I feel like other Faust players would agree that like more often than not, like Trumpet is just like kind of it's now a mad dash to not lose the game once I throw it.
Right. I mean, it kind of has the vibe of like a lot of stuff that's in Sin's kit, where it's like you have mind games, but it's just because the move is so bad that you get mind games because the move is bad.
Yeah, I think I'd rather just have like a move that's good.
Right. I can respect that. I can respect that for sure.
Yeah. So Trumpet, it's a double-edged sword. I feel like it's more bad than good for Faust, but it's a fine item. There's Hammer. Hammer's my one true love. I wish that we could set it to Hammer for the session, just because there's one really fun trick. So obviously Hammer is just good because like it is just a projectile that just comes down slowly, and if you're not prepared for it, you just get hit by it.
Right.
But even better than that, most of the time what I will do if like I'm within like a certain range, when I throw a hammer,
There it is.
If you go to block it or something like that, so like typically what I will do is I will run up command grab after I throw hammer, because there are three things that are going to happen there. You're either going to get hit by my command grab, you're going to try and hit me out of my command grab and they get hit by the hammer,
right?
Or what's the third thing? I don't know. I think it's just that it's so hard to demonstrate when I don't just have the hammer that I can throw out.
Right.
But it's basically like a situation where it's like when I throw out hammer and I go for a command grab, I'm always safe because I always have the hammer that's gonna like cover me. So like if you like jump to avoid my command grab, you're getting hit by hammer even if you're holding back. So it's not that bad for me. I get the command grab, or you just get hit by the hammer. So it's like those are the three things that can end up happening when I toss hammer and I go for a command grab that I like. It's also just a good item. Like even if I'm not going for command grab setups like that, it's never bad to have a hammer.
Right.
And there is like one unique interaction with it where Faust charge 5D can.
Oh yeah, I've seen this a good number of times.
Ah, I threw accidentally.
We got this.
I'll get it. I'll get it. Rolling the gotcha.
And
sometimes that's just fun.
The hammer, the actual rarest item, apparently. There it is.
Oh, well, I think I hit the hammer there. I couldn't tell because I also hit you.
And you can, it like yeets the hammer across the screen, right?
Yeah, so like if you're like, you do have to like step forward a little bit for it. It's not like the most, like I've seen pretty much only Nage do it like that, yeah. Like Nage is the only one that I've ever seen, like as far as like good, like really good Faust players go for it, but it's an interesting option for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's hammer. And then banana peel. That was a fun one they added in. Obviously, you can slip on the banana peel. I can slip on the banana peel. If you're holding back, you just block it. But it's a silly little banana peel you slip on.
That's interesting. I never really knew that you could dash block it. It seems very unintuitive that you can dash block that.
Yeah, my least favorite thing about banana peel, I have a love-hate relationship with it, is that whenever like I'll have you like in the corner, for instance, and I just like I throw an item and like the banana peel lands there, that'll just happen.
Yeah.
I'll just trip on it. Or like if I like toss the banana peel and it lands like, let's just say like it lands like right here, I'll try going for like something and I'm getting pushed back enough where I just end up tripping on it and I just drop whatever I was doing.
Right. So while hammer is the like whatever you see hammer and anything that you do after hammer comes out is going to be safe because hammer's covering it, the banana peel is basically the opposite where you have a decent chance of dropping your stuff because the banana peel's on the ground.
Yeah, and it's an interesting because you can kind of think of it like a landmine too, because like you end up putting the banana peel, like if it lands like in front of you, like right here or something, I can like just kind of hang back and just throw items or something.
Right. It's almost like a Happy Chaos clone, but like way less effective.
Exactly. I mean, like
Makes
you can
my
still
approach
obviously
more
like do
linear.
things through it, but yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
It's a decent item, I'd say. Bomb is life. I love bomb setups. I love bomb combos. I love the little tennis match you can play with it. Because the really fun thing with bomb, let me see if I can get it, is like that's where Faust 5K really comes in handy with bomb. Is whenever like someone is like hits it back at you, you can pretty much always just be spamming 5K, and it'll be so active that it'll always like bounce the bomb back. And
that's why I always assumed I just always lost that tennis match because the Fausts are just better than me, but it's just their 5K is better than me.
It's like if anyone, because like not too many people's moves interact with the bombs quite like Faust do. So like, let me see. There's one that you can do like with 2S. It launches the bomb in the air like that, so that one can get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
But most other characters' moves that like hit the bomb, they always like bounce it like right within where your 5K. If I'm just spamming it like that, is always gonna bounce it right back.
And that puts it right behind me too, so like I have to deal with the awkward full screen backdash.
Exactly. So I kind of end up just like putting people in a situation where when I'm spamming it like that and I bounce it back, like okay, now you just have to hold back or take it. And it's very fun to see people think like, oh, can my like 2P or 2K hit it back in time, and then just get fucked.
It's that situation, like it happens with Jacko too, right? Where there's a minion right inside your character model, and you're like, I don't know if my active frames on my 2P are gonna catch this minion, so I just have to like sit here and hold it.
Yeah. No, but bomb is definitely one of the more fun tools that Faust has in his item kit. I love it.
Yeah.
And whenever I get a conversion off it, I feel like a god. Especially if I get like let's see if I can manage to do this. Don't block my my thrust here.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with the golf swing off of bomb, it'll bounce them like right back to you, so you can go for like like a 5K jump like conversion. It's so good. I love
Yeah.
that. I live for that. Yeah, that's bomb.
And one of the things that I know, or kind of know, but don't quite understand about bomb is that it's technically a fireball, right? So if you have stuff that destroys fireballs, it works on the bomb. And that might just be a Testament unique interaction. Because
what
I'm
does
pretty
Testament
sure
have that destroys fireballs?
the main hit of my Grave Reaper. So like if I can get a bomb, I think I haven't actually like tested this. I remember seeing it in a Twitter clip a long time ago.
Yeah, go for it. I'm curious.
So it's this, and then it should work if the bomb is on the ground too.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, if we just get a bomb.
I'm hella curious about that. I've never known if that happens. There we go. Okay. Nope.
Oh, nope, it
Still
doesn't. Interesting. Yeah, so I remember seeing that in a Twitter clip a long time ago. I've never put it into practice, but I thought I remembered seeing that it was like technically a fireball, so that like Grave Reaper destroyed it or something like that. It might be something where it's like maybe while it's traveling or something, but
I can't say for certain. I mean, I've played this game for like almost 350 hours of Faust, and like I don't think I've ever seen a bomb get destroyed.
Hey, that's fair. But I mean, at the very minimum, if you have a multi-hitting fireball, like maybe Leo H fireball, I assume that's pretty decent for the bomb wars.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, like you have to be really aware of like the bombs like timing too. I mean, most Fausts like just kind of like have the timing down at this point, where it's just like I think it's like 2, 3, or 4 ticks of it. You just kind of like get a feeling for like when it's gonna explode, and then like you just kind of like there it was. You just kind of like end up using that, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So it starts counting like that, but you listen to like the fuse counting down like that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Committing that to muscle memory.
Yeah, that's bomb. And then I think there's one more we didn't do. Oh yeah, there it was. Yeah, Mini Faust. Let's get him out here. So Mini Faust is great, obviously, because like he goes back and forth. He's basically just like a little roaming sentry gun kind of item like that. And especially with the most recent change to his kit. Oh yeah, there was Afro too. We can talk about Afro. But yeah, Mini Faust. They changed it so like whenever you actually get hit by him now, like he immediately like hurts you like that. He's always a good item too. I just feel like he can be kind of a traitor sometimes because like he only goes back and forth in like one direct, like a couple times, and then he walks back towards you. But also like he doesn't always like come like all the way. I don't really know exactly like what happens with him, but it's like. Here again. Let me just back up all the way and try and get him. Hammer. Faust out here. Get him out. Get him out.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it a good number of times in like corner situations where he decides to turn and just like is gone.
Yeah, and also like any kind of source of damage triggers him.
Yeah.
Another thing that let's see, because none of Faust's moves can trigger him to activate except where is it? Get out here. Get out here. There he is. Love can activate him.
Oh really?
So, yeah, so you can go for like little setups like that. Like if you don't want him patrolling like that, you can just try and hit him with your little air fireball like that, and that'll trigger him. But yeah, I mean, he's a great item. It's just sometimes like he might just not activate, and that sucks. But when he does, like it's a good little upset.
And with Mini Faust, that's one that currently it used to be reversed, but currently it's better to walk over him than to hit him, right? I know a lot of players think that you should still be hitting him and are getting kind of punished for it.
Yeah, the old Mini Faust, you could hit him, and that was a good idea to just like go ahead and trigger him and hold back, or just like jump. But yeah, like dash block, like that works on him. But it's still like he's still way better now, but it's not impossible to deal with.
Right.
And then yeah, Faust's last item is Afro, which I mean I don't even need the item because I mean
yeah,
it's just the projectile version. You walk over it, you get an Afro, and then if you're not aware of it, it extends your hitbox upwards. So a lot of things that normally don't work. So for example, like, well, hold on, I can do like, okay, so that, okay, so hold back.
Yep.
Oh, down back. There we go. Like that. That doesn't
Right.
work when you're holding, like, but when you have an afro, oops. But when you have an afro,
Oh wow, yeah.
now that hits. So yeah, there's some like fun setups you can do with that. But obviously the thing with like the projectile version of it from the super, or from this, you know, I should just be doing this.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, so obviously when Faust has it, what they did, they changed it so now his little love thing does that, and it does guard crush.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty good for Faust to have it now. But you can still kind of get fucked, especially in like the Faust v Faust mirror matchup, where
Imagine.
you know that like when they get the afro, it's just like, all right, I know you're gonna go for it. Just go for like a jump 5K or some jump 5H rather.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just kind of like fuck them out of that.
And
go ahead.
So if you have a fire move, Testament doesn't, but I know Soul does, and oh, who else is it? I think Jacko's minions exploding does.
Bedman, his I believe his 236H is technically an explosion. I think it does fire damage, whatever that is in this game. But yeah, it has that fire property, I believe.
Yeah, or like Bike and JD maybe.
Yes,
those will all ignite it, right?
That does trigger it. I know that. My buddy, good Biken player, I've seen him trigger my afro with that, and it's fun. But yeah, any move that has that fire property, Soul especially, like a lot of his moves have that. But I mean, mainly with Faust, it's gonna be jump 5D. Like, and I always think of the image. Someone made a meme a long time ago that was just like the Faustian urge when they see an afro to jump 5D. Because, like, your opponent, who is aware of the Faust matchup, knows when they have an afro, I'm just going to do this, like, all the time. Like, I might just, like, I'm not even close to you, I'm doing this. Like, I've got a scratch and I'm itching it. I'm going to get you. But it's very easy to, like, just kind of fuck this move with, like, 6P or, like, any kind of, like, anti or, like, anything. So it's, you really gotta, you just gotta behave a little bit with it, but... Afro is great, Afro state is great, and yeah, the item of course has like that property that makes it pretty good for Faust as well.
Yeah. So when you're in Afro state, if I remember correctly, you have you no longer get the upper body invuln from 6P, right?
I do not know. Let's try that. Let's see. Alright, I'll just do jump 5H. Alright. Go for it. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, go for it.
Oh, Testament might be a bad example, but
okay, yeah, because Testament has War Crime 6P.
Yeah, I have a 6P that reaches farther than my head does, even with the afro on. Honestly, let me double check the. I'm curious as to whether or not Faust has that same effect. Like, should I be going in for like aerial stuff against Faust when he has the afro on?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously it extends Faust's vertical hitbox as well, or hitbox as well. So I mean, like, that's still good. I mean, he's already tall as shit, and like extending that even further, it can be pretty bad for Faust. That's why they try to get rid of it as fast as possible. But yeah, I don't know about that 6P body invuln if it takes it away. I want to say
yeah. So, a character wearing an afro loses upper body invulnerability on their 6P due to the afro's hitbox. So basically, the afro's hitbox will take over the space that you're normally invulnerable. Faust is quite low, so he's less. So Faust is affected, but it's just less so because he's so nimbly, I guess.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Yeah, like I know that's one of the things I see Skullduggers do all the time, right? Is where like he'll get the afro state, and then instead of going straight for the JD, he'll be up here, he'll like hit a JP or the JS, and he'll just loop that a couple of times before he like actually goes for the JD, and then like just to kind of like layer that mind game on.
you know, a lot of the better Faust are definitely better at like those mind games than me. Um, I'm just going for the thrill of it. I'm just trying to get the I'm just trying to light that afro on fire, you know.
And then when you light it on fire, it does like a guard crush if you block it after a certain
Yep.
period of time, right?
Yeah. So if I could get my input, if you block, obviously, so like your afro is on fire for a bit, and then yeah, that guard crushes you on that. But then another fun thing, if Faust knows their timing on it, is that you can get a cross up
Oh.
in the corner. I don't see it as often. I feel like more Faust will just kind of end up going for like, we'll kind of go for their mix-ups with that.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of like a fun little last resort. It's just like, okay, like am I like it like where's it looking? Is that afro about to pop? Okay, let me just go for that cross up real quick. And so that can be fun, but it doesn't put you at like quite as good of a situation in the corner. And obviously with the command grab, with this, like you can go for like close slash. Oh, wait. If I do that. Usually it's there's a safe jump that you have for it where in case you're expecting like a reversal super or like just a DP, you can just go for like you can go for the safe jump and not like the afro, but you still get a counter off of just a counter hit off of punishing the reversal whiffing. But yeah, there's a lot of like fun stuff you can do with the afro. Yeah.
Speaking of the like command grab and a safe jump, like I know I see like Guts do this a lot. The loop where you just like do the command grab like 12 times in a row. Is there something specific to like watch out for that like setup wise, or is it literally just you get command grabbed in the corner and you kind of got to play the game of like fuzzy jumping?
Yeah, at that point, yeah, you just if you see that they're like going for it, like I don't see too many Faust go for it, where it's just like, let's see, I think it's
It's
like,
scary, but it's mostly like mentally scary.
yeah, I also don't know why my connection's like bad, but
right.
but yeah, when for the loop, I mean, like all you have to do is just like fuzzy jump or just like if you're expecting it. I don't really see it too often, but yeah.
I just remember I heard Jack say the other day, it was like that the afro command grab loop is maybe one of the scariest things that a Faust player can do to you.
Yeah, no, you have to have really good execution for it, but I mean, it can be pretty tricky to deal with.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think people are starting to come to my house for our Mother's Day celebration today or something.
Oh, lovely.
Yep. Okay, but yeah, do you have any other questions about?
Yeah, so that's the items, right? And Faust's supers, like there's the two that he just like throws items and then throws all of the items.
Yeah.
What a wacky input. Those are literally just like items, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's two versions of it. There's the one that you probably see more often. I mean, not too many Faust will go for it, but I mean, like just to kind of close out a round, just like to maybe get like just any of those like quick little like meteors or hammers. Like it's just quick little throw 5 items. It can be anything. So, and like the interactions that they can all have with each other, like you can get 3 bombs and like 100-ton weight and then meteors, and it's just like, okay, your opponent is trying to now throw back 3 bombs, but they're also getting guard crushed by a 100-ton weight and guard crushed by a meteor, so they just have to keep holding back. They don't get chipped to death. So there's that version of it, and then there is the fun version of it. Shit, hold on, I'm not as good at getting this. Also doesn't help that the connection's really fucked up right now. Why can't I get it? Alright, hold on. Jeez whiz, I cannot get it right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna get this. Don't worry.
I believe in you.
Oh, I'm gonna take your time. I can't do it. What? There. Nope. Oh my god, why is the connection so bad? just jumping accidentally.
There you go. That is...
Yeah, where you just throw like a million items. Like, I don't know how many it is. I think it's like 10.
Right.
Yeah, no. You just throw like a million items. Most of the time it's going to be bombs. Sometimes it's hammers. Sometimes you get a meteor in there too. It's just utter chaos. And it's not good. That version of it, because it uses all your meter to actually use it.
Right.
It's just not a very good super, but it's there because why not? Why
Right.
not?
Yeah, especially because I mean, Faust
yeah,
has such good uses for meter generally.
Yeah. And then yeah, his the main super you'll probably be seeing from though is Bone Crushing Excitement. It's a fun super. It's reversal, and then you get a funny little cutscene. Everyone's got a silly little face. And hey, at least after that first patch, they made it wall break. It originally didn't.
That's actually.
I don't know why it didn't.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
No, this Faust guy, he's too good. We can't let his super wall break.
Yeah, but there is an interesting quality to it because it's not just Faust's reversal super. You can also hold on. You can also PRC it like right away and take advantage of the iframes. So it's like most of the time, if I'm like knocked down, I'll just go for that grab or something in the corner. It's very, very good. It's like the best quality of his super, I would say.
Right. Yeah, that's Test. I haven't labbed it very much. I know Testman can do it with the reversal too. Cute little having a bad reversal privilege.
Yeah, but it's a fun super. Obviously now it's better than it was, but you know it's still not the greatest. I mean, you see it like every time a new character comes out. There's like two videos. There's the video where it's like showing off their moves, and then there's what does the Faust super look like on them. and that's how people have fun with that super.
Yeah. And then so with Scarecrow, like since we're kind of talking about the RC situation, you have regular Scarecrow, right, which is same side, opposite side, or high, and you can read it by looking at where the eye shows up, right?
Right, because you're always going to have two Scarecrows show up, and the one that has the eyeball is the one that Faust is. And obviously, if none of them have the eyeball, I'm coming in from above.
Right.
And you can also hold them. So an interesting quality is that if I just go for the quick one like this, I'm minus, but if I charge it, I'm plus.
Oh, that is actually really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go for. I mean, the most places where I see it now is off of meteor. Like if you get a meteor bounce or you're just going for like meteor cross up, you can hold the button and typically get all 3 hits off it and then convert into a full combo.
Right.
It's pretty nice for that, but I mean, obviously its best quality is, you know, hey, I teleported and now I'm like behind you or I'm in front of you and I can just do anything. And I can also do this.
Yeah.
Which looks better when you're not having 6 frames of rollback.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. So normally, right, Scarecrow is like kind of bad. From what I understand, the general consensus is. I remember back in the day, like Robert, when he was playing a lot of Faust, was like, "Yeah, the only thing that I have a problem with is I'm too addicted to using Scarecrow and the Scarecrow overhead."
Yeah.
But with PRC, it's like how do you actually deal with that situation? Like, is that just literally unreact? Like, you just have to see like, I feel like even if I'm backdashing on reaction to the animation, like I'm still not getting out of that usually.
The way I've always you mean if I don't PRC out of Scarecrow?
Well, if you do Scarecrow PRC, like, is that just like basically a guaranteed command grab for you, or?
It's not a guaranteed command grab. I would say, for the most part, like, if you see a Faust that's kind of just, like, chilling at full screen like this, and they're not just, like, being wacky item toss, man, it's kind of like when, it's kind of like respecting a Kai that has 50% meter and is using Stun Dipper, where it's just, like, you see they have that meter, you just kind of have to respect that they might go for that option. So,
right.
I don't really know how else to really say like how to play like safe around it, other than like when you see that they have it, you just kind of have to be prepared that like they might just do some shit.
Right.
But yeah, and with like, especially with like the overhead version, just like literally putting them like right in your face.
Mm.
Just like not going for like any like, you know, big committal like pokes, because I mean Faust for one is already most of the time going to win like the far-reaching poke score.
Right.
Just not going for like just anything, because then he can just like teleport on you and just do that.
Right. Yeah, and then of course, like you're doing there, he has the option of just doing like close slash to catch you jumping or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say for that situation, you see a Faust with more than 50% meter, just kind of respect that they do have that teleport PRC. That even if like you're just kind of like, you know, if you're just going for like some empty jumps or something, like
Right.
I can still, like, if I have meter, I can still just like go for this and just like air throw you
Right.
if I see you rip that. So yeah, there's a lot of like fun wacky stuff that he can do out of teleport PRC, and just you gotta respect him when he's got meter like that.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Another thing is, so we'll do the offense first and the defense second. So like when you're doing corner pressure, right? Like you've got me, you know, you one round start and you do that crazy scarecrow combo that like launches me all the way into the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm like hard knocked down in the corner. I got up, and now you're gonna run corner pressure on me. Like, what are the like usual things I'm looking for? Like, I know Faust does do a lot of like close slash resets generally.
Yeah, so like basically just like close slash, up close slash. Like I might just go for like a 2H. What I like to go for with Faust is if I have like 50% meter, like I might just go for like, you know, like a. It's so hard with this rollback.
Yeah.
Go for. Jeez. I might go for like tornado, and then go for a low, like the 2K 2D.
Because mix
anything
mix
like that,
is,
like
it's negative, but it is a frame trap, right?
yes. So yeah, most of the time, like if I'm going for this, like, you know, like I'm gonna end it on, well, if you're blocking,
Right.
But oh my god, it's just so bad.
It's almost easier to block on rollback.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Faust doesn't really have like the greatest corner pressure, but I mean, like there's some fun stuff that you can go for. It's really hard to do. I apologize that it's
No,
this bad right now.
That is a-okay. We got a little bit of a Strive server moment. That's all right. So yeah, I mean, basically, like what you're looking for is kind of like the close slash resets, or maybe like jump outs on bad items.
So yeah, like jump outs on bad items. So like if I were to throw like a donut, or even that, I might go for like a 5K, just like to kind of keep you in the corner. I'll probably just like try and go for like a scalpel or something.
Right.
And then obviously I just got like the nice little bread and butter there. If I do catch you, it can do a tasty little chunk of damage. If it ever gets there.
Hold up a little wrist,
Yeah, you
deal a nice little chunk of damage. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, as far as like offense for that, just like looking for jump outs like that whenever you end up throwing an item where they want to jump, like mini Faust or something.
Right.
If you throw trumpet, obviously they might see it as an opportunity to go in. I might just go up and not do that, but like command grab or something.
Right.
Yeah, just like still trying to go for situations where it's like where you take advantage of the items that you have. Obviously, Hammer's just gonna keep them like right there. Yeah, no. There's some stuff that he can do with corner pressure, but his corner pressure it really is not as good. So that might be like one of the reasons why people consider him not to be like just as good across like the whole cast, but
That makes sense. There's a lot of characters in Strive who can have hypothetically infinite corner pressure that execute it pretty well. Would you say that like FDing is generally a good option? Does it kind of shut down some of his like corner pressure strings?
So yes and no, because obviously, like, you know, Faust not having like as much corner pressure, like if you do have like any you know, meter to use for like FD, it's gonna push him further away, but then he can also like go for like more item tosses. Like he's already got like moves like 5H or 2D that's pushing him like a little bit, pushing you and him like a little bit further back. But yeah, 6P is like really good for just like kind of stuffing stuff like that. But
Okay.
yeah, pushing him like that far back, like even if Faust is like, you know, pushed back to mid screen like that, like giving him enough range to throw a not a donut can still be good enough for Faust most of the time, where he doesn't always need to have corner pressure to be just winning, because I mean he's always better when he's like winning the neutral. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that absolutely does make sense.
Okay.
And then we'll let you go pretty soon so we can get you out of the rollback hell. But
Yeah.
so when Faust is on defense, obviously the PRC super is something to watch out for, and crawl you really have to like structure your stuff around crawl. Usually, I feel like, because like I gotta be hitting like I can't just be doing the lazy thing and hitting bar slash resets into my pressure, because I'll just get smoked every time.
Yeah.
And I always feel like 2H is a big thing. And then what else do you generally end up doing in your like when you're trying to play defensively? Like, are there things that you kind of lean on? Like, are you jumping out a lot? Are you mashing?
Some things that I'll do if if my opponent is like representing a lot of like, you know, like grounded pressure, what I might try going for is like when I see a gap, I'll jump and go for like 5D for like a quick little like just like a, if I don't super jump, go for like a quick little like overhead to like catch them out of it, and then I can maybe like get that into like a mix. But otherwise, like what I can just change size, can't I? Okay. Yeah, if I see they're representing like, you know, trying to get for like a jump in, like I can get like a 2K sometimes, because like because it hits like so far up. If they like try to go for like kind of like jump in pressure like that, I can end up kind of like catching them with like a quick 2K, 5K, 6H, and then like reset them, like in, you know, get myself out of the corner there. That's usually what I do. I mean, his 2P obviously also being like really quick, like whenever like you catch like the end of something, is also quite good.
Okay.
That's normally what I go for. And then yeah, with his oops, second.
Right.
Like yeah, obviously like turning the tables or anything like that with PRC super. Yeah, there's some fun little stuff that he can do to try and like get out of the corner.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm trying to think. I know that, okay, I think I got my last two questions here. One is for bursting against Faust, because I know he has a lot of weird hoppy trajectories in some of his longer combos. Are there any spots that are like really like you see people like accidentally burst baiting themselves in, or like I know one is like the you're not supposed to burst when he lands the scalpel, right? Because if he has Roman cancel, he can like on a reaction Roman cancel and fuck you up or something like that.
Yeah, so how that works is that you can burst like any time during the scalpel, during the scalpel combo. But yeah, even like right there, like what I will probably end up doing more often than not is just like you'll still be safe because like I'm committing to like the golf swing, but you still don't want to burst when like you're that far away.
Right.
I'm trying to think of like what the best button to press there would be. Yeah, so it's still just kind of like you know, you use your burst, but I don't. Like we're still in like the exact same position that we were.
Right, and you lose like 25% of your burst because you got the burst bait version.
Yeah, and then I would say the best time to burst against like Faust, like when he's using scalpel, is like when you're like literally like right in his face. Because I mean, a lot of Fausts, like, you know, because you can do the golf swing like basically like immediately and it'll still hit, but it's less damage. But I mean, if you're just trying to close out a round or something, like that's a good thing to do. But Faust always want to go for the biggest swing, so it's not too bad if you wait until you're like right there, right there, to do the burst, because then it just, you know, you get out of it.
Right.
But if you burst like immediately, I feel like it is a big waste.
Oh,
especially if you already get hit by it.
Yeah. Don't want to do that one.
Yeah, but
I did that first.
I still got hit by it. Okay. So
okay, yeah.
do one more try. So like you can
That
still
would
get
be
like kind of fucked out of that.
yeah, a sassy little combo for sure.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Is there anything else? Like, because I know, what is it? It's the overhead, like the opposite part of Scalpel, where you instead of pulling them in, you go for like the big overhead, or the
Oh
one that
yeah,
you
that's
usually combo into Scalpel. There's like that, and a Scarecrow like does the weird knock up where you're like super high in the air,
huh.
or
Oh,
I
so
forget what it is, but there's a couple of his moves that like they just knock you super high up. And
oh,
I know.
okay. So I know what you're talking about. Go for a jump in
Okay.
and don't block.
Oh yeah, that's it. If I'm yeah.
Yeah. So like you can catch them on that. That's usually like a nice. I feel like it's a lot harder to time that though. Like if you're expecting a jump in, I guess it's good to go for. But I
Right.
don't really know how because of like how long the wind up for it is. My biggest advice for anyone though against like if you get hit by Faust overhead 6H, just please press a button because if you don't, this is well I counter hit you there, so that's why
Yeah.
that was free. But if you don't press a button, I just get a free scalpel.
Right.
And there's so many players that I see that just do not understand that like it staggers and you have to do that or else I just get that shit for free.
Right.
And then I can even just like if I have meter, I can if I have meter.
There
Yeah,
we
see,
go.
so you press a button, you can block it. It's just like that. But then yeah, if I can do a lot off of that. And
Right.
it's a great change for Faust obviously, but more people need to know you have to press a button there.
Yeah, it is a little bit timing dependent, but yeah, it's that is actually huge because I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I
it's
always
crazy.
it's always one of those things where it's like you get hit by Garuda and you're just like, oh well, I'm gonna get Potemkin busted, and it's like, well actually you can survive this if you use your eyes and read what was on the screen.
Exactly. But I mean, it's something that people, I guess, like it, and again, it's why Faust is a bit of a knowledge check character because not a lot of people are playing against Faust. Not a lot of people know that his overhead 6H does stagger. So yeah, definitely just look out for stuff like that. I mean, like a lot of the time, I'll just throw it out and it has massive recovery. But yeah, it's still a good tool and it's fun for conversions. Obviously, like like when you did like that jump in, like because you're flying through the air like that. I love doing like just kind of like chasing down. Let me try.
There's one that
Try again. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I keep resetting.
No, you're good.
but
You're
go
good.
ahead.
There's one I know my very first match in Celestial, I was doing IAD back Grave Reaper as like my round start option, and he did that scalpel into like a wall break in like 60%, and I was just like, I am so washed at this game. I'm never touching fighting games again. I just got fucking smoked by this Faust, and I'll never be good. I was like, oh, this is what the big leagues are. Like,
Yeah, if you get smoked by a Celestial Faust, you start thinking about like where you are in life. Like you're thinking about like a lot more at that point. But I mean, those dudes like they're in the mines. Like they are the character specialist type of player that is just like I know my character's not that good, but I also know that my opponent thinks they're not that good and doesn't know why.
right.
So let me try and educate them and then make them wonder why he's at B tier.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. That I think pretty much wraps up all of my questions. Our final one that we always ask is, for you, why'd you pick Faust and why have you stuck with Faust?
I have not. So Strive is pretty much the first fighting game that like I really got into, and I mean for obvious reasons that it had good netcode when it came out. It came out at a great time when everyone was playing it. But I've also always gravitated towards like the weirder characters in a cast. Like I know I was trying out Bedman for a bit, but with the server issues still being what they are,
Yeah.
I kind of just like didn't really get into them that much. So I really liked the idea of like Faust being like obviously the funny item toss man. It's one layer of it, but also being like the just kind of like weirdo freak pick of the game, who is not a grappler. I always gravitate much more towards them than just like your kind of like bread and butter like Kai Keys, because they're even like the still slightly more interesting than that like main character type of like soul bad guys. And for also the same reason that you were saying earlier about like the Celestial Fausts, where it's just like you lose to one and you're just like, what happened? Like I feel like I learned nothing. um,
Right.
just that kind of character that like really kind of makes you think differently about like how you're playing the game. I always really like those type of characters more than just like the you go in and you press your good buttons character. I like having that extra sort of layer of challenge. Granted, I'm not that good, but I still have a lot of fun when I play Faust. So I think that really speaks more than how good the character is. I still enjoy playing the character.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah. Well, very much appreciate you taking the time, Mr. Gary. That was very educational. We putting it up on the YouTube with the other ones. We got Bridget coming up later tonight, and I think that's our last one for the time being. We got a couple of straggler characters, but very much appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I apologize to anyone who was listening to this if I am butchering this character. I'm not the most technically inclined Faust. I'm a very plays by feels type of player. I tried to do him as much justice. I watch a lot of good Fausts, but I am not one of those great Fausts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, listen, it takes all kinds, and we've got the entire gambit of of different kinds of players, and like we have Jen, who is like a very feels based player and is just like, hey, don't get frame trapped by this, because if I feel like you're mashing, I'm gonna frame trap you. What's the frame data? I don't know. I'm like plus or something, but
Bro, Jen's a demon. That's all I'll say.
Jen is indeed a demon. All
Fate
right.
bursting. Hate it.
It's
Anyway.
the best and the worst. Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
you coming.